Hey, what's up guys? I'm Bo over here at the yard. Today we're gonna go over the 3 major components to having a good swing. Break these down into categories starting from the ground, or our direction, and then our path. These are 3 things that we need to do somewhat well to have a good mechanical swing. And on this component, in my opinion, of having a good swing, we need to be engaged in the ground. Where a lot of guys get themselves in trouble is they do 1 of 2 things. They get on their front side really early, or they get stuck back here like this. This will cause some over rotation in our swing. But essentially guys, if you look at every big league hitter, they all get to 50-50, okay? Their hips are underneath them. Everything is in contact with the ground before they go. If they get on their front side early, it's gonna cause some bad path and direction issues. If they get stuck back here, same thing, it's gonna cause some bad path and directional issues. So to be like in the ground, or the feeling of the ground, it's kind of a hard feeling to get. You get there by being in one position, which is both of your feet are essentially in the ground at the same time before we go. Okay, so what happens is a lot of hitters will be out of the ground because they get on their front foot early. As you can see, I leave the ground early here, or I get stuck back here and this foot never gets down and then I spin, right? So essentially what it feels like to be in the ground is our hips are behind us, okay? They're not out in front of us, they're in behind us. Okay, almost like you're about to do a deadlift or a squat. If I had 600 pounds on my back, I wouldn't want to put my hips forward or my knees forward, because essentially I would collapse. I wouldn't be in a strong position. But if I had to hold 600 pounds on my back, okay, or like even like in a Zercher position, okay, my first move would be my hips would go back underneath me. My hips and everything would be aligned, going to the middle of the field. I wouldn't be necessarily out on my toes, okay, or even too far back where I'm way bent over. First thing to having a good mechanical swing. Okay guys, the second thing we need to do in our swing after we establish the ground is have good direction. A lot of times I see athletes with their upper half rotate way off the ball in the direction that we want to go. Okay, remember we want to stay towards the middle of the field. So if our upper half over rotates too far, okay, we can't do a whole lot other than pull the ball or get weak flares to the opposite gap. If we don't rotate enough, we just stay here, it's gonna be really, really hard for us to pull the ball in general, and we'll start cutting ourselves off. We get out of the ground, or let's say we get on our front leg early, and like, you know, if you've ever heard the term like, oh, you're lunging at the baseball, or you're jumping to the baseball. Your bat and yourself have to essentially play catch up. So I'll kind of demonstrate. If I go here and I get on my front side really early, my hands are dragged back here, my hands now feel the pressure to try to make up time and space. Okay, so what they're gonna do is they're gonna get really, really out and around the ball, or like long to the ball, causing me to pull out and around or over rotate this way. When we get out on our front side, what happens is our body has to compensate. Essentially, if we can be in the ground, right, our body doesn't have to compensate, it will rotate how it needs to be efficient. The third component of having a good mechanical swing is our bat path. Hands drop, okay? We might drag, everything like that. If we get too steep to the ball, it might cut the ball and make some different kinds of motions with the ball. So for us, we wanna have a good, solid bat path. Drop our hands too much or get too steep to the ball, we relatively wanna stay flat to the baseball and hit a line drive through the middle of the field. If we do get in the ground efficiently and we do get in a good position, it's going to allow us to have a ton of adjustability. And what I mean by adjustability is your timing can be off, but your path can still be good to the baseball. What I would describe as a good path to the baseball, guys, is something that is in the zone for a long time. So if my barrel goes like this, right, and up and out, I'm not in the zone for a long time. Same thing if I were to go really, really flat and then like pull out of the zone this way, more horizontally. I want to get my bat into the zone as soon as possible. From there, I want to stay in the zone for as long as I possibly can, because that's going to give me the adjustability to hit off-speed pitches I'm maybe early to, or maybe fastballs I'm a little late to. Yeah, guys, essentially that's the 3 components of hitting that we look for mechanically here at the yard. Now, there are tons of things that go into being a good hitter. Those are the 3 things I see mechanically that will help us. We need to be able to do other things well, like our mind needs to be clear. We need to be strong. We need to swing at good pitches. We need to understand what our approach and our plan is at the plate. Those are the 3 major components. If you want to find out more, continue to follow.